Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over the part 2 of the Effigy event. So we're going to be covering the boss that's up. I'm going to be showing you just some of the footage that I have of me and my guilds doing a little bit of the guild war. Unfortunately, I did catch it a little bit too late, and those guys, they just, went completely crazy and just cleaned up. So I'll just be able to show you, my fights. But I'll try and get as much as I can for you in that regards. Other than that, we will be talking about Summer Yang as well, just breaking them down and giving you guys some tips and tricks. So hopefully you'll be able to get as high damage as possible in this Effigy event for the boss. Alright, well, let's get into it. Seconds. While you do have the frost debuffs, each stack will give you 5% dodge and 5% speed reduction. They'll stack up to 10 times, so you can have minus 50% dodge, minus 50% speed. Really hard to be avoiding all of that freeze that's going on. That's the first skill. So you've got the second skill, which is Frosty Fawn, and this is slightly different. Same kind of thing, it's all about the debuffs for Loki, kind of freezing you, stopping you to move, kind of hindering your ability to do damage. So his second move, he throws out a spear, dealing all damage to the fighters, in ignoring parries, dodge and shield, and damage immunity, which is really important to take note of. And it inflicts hinder for 8 seconds. So all that means is that they're frozen on the spot. Throws a frost spear, suddenly they've been hit with that that Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero ice attack. So that's all that's happened there. Frosty Breath, Loki unleashes a frigid breath, dealing damage to enemies ahead multiple times, each inflicting 1 stack of frost. So I guess it depends on how many times it does hit, but again, that frost is coming up after 10 stacks. You are going to be frozen for 4 seconds, so you do need to be a little bit careful. And then the last attack that you've got is Frost Rule. Loki summons a freezing floor spike, dealing damage to all fighters, inflicting freezing power on the targets for 4 seconds. Right, and if they already have freezing power, then he gets extreme freeze, which for 6 seconds they will take damage equal to 5% of their max HP per second. Alright, so this is something again that you're gonna have to be watching out. Generally speaking, already just looking at what the boss does. Well, as we all know, The strategy is always going to be the same for every boss fight. We're waiting to have a couple of bars. You know, we're already getting the freeze on us, which is, you know, something we can't really deal with too well at the moment, but we're definitely just making sure that we're waiting that time so our super bar that can come up. Once the super bar has come up, then we'll be able to just move about and do what we need to be doing. So if you can see, you know, people are definitely getting frozen. I'm not saying that's an issue at the moment, but we just need to see if we can get this off. Perfect. Gotta just kind of wait out those freezes. The reason I am using Gao in this one specifically is just because he does get immunity damage on his S3. So I'm hoping, you know, with all of that said, I'll be able to do something with that there. If this doesn't work, the second unit I do definitely want to try out is Jury, and then after that we'll just switch out the team again and see what we can do in terms of damage, I guess, with the classic team, and just see how it all goes. Really bit unfortunate there, but you know, sometimes that's just how the boss is. You definitely need to be planning what you're doing in terms of your attacks and whatnot. But I think that's about it for me. So not too bad in terms of the damage, I would say. Yeah, should get about 174 million this time. Okay, so we do have Summer Yang here, you know, Mr. Armor Break himself. He is a flame support unit, agility typing equipment, so he does use the same equipment as Dalsim, you know, Fashion Blanca, Chun-Li. Me personally, I think he's probably the best, you know, if not definitely top 2 flame supports out there. It's pretty much between him and Flame Chun-Li. Unfortunately, Fei Long has been knocked down a little peg, just in what he does. You know, he's got the fire vulnerability and the increased damage, but I don't know, I just feel like Summer Yang's a bit too strong, you know. He's got the armor based chance, 50% chance of inflicting an armor base when he attacks and pulls twice, so that is, you know, really good. And then at level 3 it does increase to 100% base chance of inflicting that 1 armor break, and it does increase the value of the shield by 600% of his defense as well, so that is something that's really good to know too. For his S1 Wave Strike, for this move, he will surf on a surfboard, applying a shield equal to 800% of his defense to all teammates for 15 seconds. Additionally, he will heal his whole team for 5% of his max HP. And again, the lowest member of the team will get healed for an additional 8%. So he has got that healing there on the S1. And it seems to be a similar kind of case with a lot of the units coming out. That S1 is either set up or something different, and then the super and S2 work together really well. So in this example, you know, his S1 is more about the healing, making sure your allies stay around alive, and then the super and the S2, which we'll get onto in a second, is all about, you know, getting that armor break off, decreasing damage, increasing damage, sorry, that the enemy can take, and just making sure that you're getting off those combos. You know, people like Guile, I think more so if we're going into flame, you know, people like Sea Viper, people like Dowsim are definitely gonna have a field day with this character, just providing, you know, so much additional debuffs on the enemy, allowing them to hit so much harder, and just making life easier for everybody really. But S2, you know, Summer Yang will strike a target on the surfboard 6 times consecutively, dealing 634% of his attack. Each strike inflicting that debuff of the defense break, or the armor break, I guess I should call it, as well as giving more super gauge, because every time you do inflict an armor break, the super combo gauge is filled up by 60. So, you know, he's giving you that super gauge, kind of, not even recovery, but just like being a miniature super gauge battery. He's got the armor breaks, he's got the healing, got the shielding. All around, I feel like he is going to be a very, very solid unit. We'll be getting into a couple of the trial, you know, the trial runs, and seeing what he can do in a couple of different teams, giving you guys a couple of examples. And then the last couple of things to break down, we've got his passive, wave projection. What his passive does is, while the shield granted by the super combo or combo 1 is active, the damage dealt by the target is increased by 20%. So what this means, as long as they have a shield on them, by the time a super combo, so the first part of the combo, your combo 1 is activated, then the damage dealt is going to be increased. He provides a shield to everybody, so as long as that shield has been provided, which I'm assuming you would be able to do because of her, you know, providing a shield equal to 500% of Summer Yang's defense to all teammates for 15 seconds, then his passive is going to kick in at the maximum level. Not only are you going to be getting the effect accuracy increase, you're going to be getting damage dealt increase and effect accuracy by 25%, and then you're also going to be getting super armor, so you can't be knocked back. So again, you're getting even more. So the debuffs that you can inflict, you know, all of the armor breaks, all of the burns, the silences, all of that kind of stuff is going to be a little bit more effective. Obviously, you're going to have the 25% base chance, but it is affected by effect accuracy, so you might have a slightly higher chance of getting that. More damage is always great, you know, we always love free damage. And then the super armor just means that you can't be knocked back, so it's just giving your team a little bit more presence, you know, it might help out your front line a bit more. So overall, I feel like he's a really, really good unit. The speed, I guess, is the only thing I do have an issue with, a little bit on the slow side, but I guess that is to be expected. Kind of a little bit surprising considering he is agility, but you know, overall, very, very solid unit. So if we go to his garage, his exclusive is Tide Turner, 3 out of 3 cards. While the shield is granted by the super combo or combo 1, if the target is attacked, it reduces the attacker's attack by 12% for 4 seconds. So again, it's not quite similar to, I guess you could say, Fashion Blanca, but it's got that kind of thing, you know, well, if you've got a shield and you're attacked, then something is going to happen. In this regard, it's less damage, so it is helping you, you know, you mitigate the damage from the shield, and then once that mitigation is kind of been taken into place, now the actual attack, the attack is being decreased by 12%, so you're going to be taking less damage before you've even taken any damage to your health bar, because you have that shield. And now the 6 out of 6 is, while the shield granted by the super combo or super combo 1 is active, if the target is attacked, so if the person who has the shield is attacked, they deal 30% of the damage dealt as true damage to the attacker. The damage is capped to 300% of their attack. So essentially it's a reflect, you know, it's not straight out reflecting all of the damage, but 30% of the damage that you take is a redirect. You know, it's like, okay, I've taken this damage, now you're about to share this with me. Stuff like that. I feel like that's going to be really, really strong. Maybe less so against you know, bosses. I guess it just depends on that sweet spot, because if the enemies are killing you in one hit, as some of you know and experience really well in the later chapters, then it ain't gonna matter too much. But if you're able to survive and you're taking that damage, now the damage that you're reflecting, it's going to be big, because again, free damage, extra damage, we always love to see that on characters. It just kind of helps us, you know, push and progress. And what's not to like, you know? We all like free things. And finally, we have Summer Yang's exclusive equipment, the Wind and Thunder skateboard. Even though it's technically a surfboard, but we move. He's a funny guy, isn't it? So the skill that he gets is the Great Wave Whirl, and this replaces Wave Strike. So what he does is he'll surf with the surfboard, applying a shield equal to 880% of Yang's defense to all teammates for 8 seconds. Meanwhile, the whole team is healed for 6% of Summer Yang's maximum HP, and the teammate with the lowest health is additionally healed for 10% of Summer Yang's maximum HP. So again, it's just a bigger boost, and we've seen this a few times, you know, with a lot of characters, especially the supports. One that I can name is Eleanor. You know, when she does end up getting her exclusive equipment, her heal just becomes a lot better, and it seems like they went the same kind of route with Yang, at least with the base. So you know, you're getting more of a heal, the bigger shield, and it's based on his maximum HP, so there's not much to love on that. You know, it's letting the S1 kind of shine, so there is a reason to use it, you know, and not just rely on the armor break from the super and the S2 sort of thing. You're still, you know, getting value out of that heal. Maybe not as much as Eleanor, but you're still getting value nonetheless. At +5, the assist is unlocked. Upon taking crit damage, the assisted fighter gains a shield equal to 400% of Summer Yang's defense, and it lasts 15 seconds. When the shield expires or otherwise disappears, the damage taken is reduced by 10% for 10 seconds with a 15 second trigger interval. So off of that, I can pretty much, if I was to compare it to something, I would definitely compare it to the same kind of fighting spirit MH Ken has. And the reason I say that is I know that he doesn't have his sharpness, but it is the Dragon Curse, you know, working with that. And it just reminds me a lot of that. You know, you've got some sort of value that you need to get past, and if they get past it, then you get a secondary effect. This one's again more defensive than offensive, so I do feel like they might have taken some inspiration from there. Who knows? But I still feel like it's gonna be good, you know. At least for an assist, you know, reducing the damage is great, and gaining a shield is great. So I guess it just depends on, again, where you are in the campaign and where you are just in general in the game. Because if things are one hitting you, then it's not going to be too great, not going to be a fun time. But if you are able to survive and, you know, kind of play around and try different tactics like that, then I can definitely see, you know, Summer Yang being very good. +10, value of the shield granted by Great White Wave Whirl is increased to the equivalent of 1000% defense. So again, it becomes a lot more like MH Ken at the +10, you know, 1000% of his attack, 1000% of the defense. At +20, the damage taken in the 10 seconds following the disappearance of the shield from Great Wave Whirl is reduced by 20%. So it's a further more damage reduction, 20%. You know, you might be able to stack the DR as well, just depending. So I just think it's better, you know. It's great. More damage reduction, a bigger shield. So you're just doing more in it. You've got a fatter shield, you've got more time for them to kind of break through it, and then when they finally do break through it, you've then got 10 seconds of a 20% damage reduction rather than 10%. So, you know, it's just a little bit more of that survivability that he's bringing to the team. And then at +30, All on the team gain a 50% shield boost upon the character's entrance onto the battlefield, and the effect eventually falls to 0 over 25%. So then your shields are becoming huge. The shields are becoming a lot bigger. Yes, the effect does fall, but you know, in the first kind of onset, especially with those first strike bonuses, if you're able to get out that first shield, maybe the second shield as well, will definitely benefit from the plus 30 at most. Just looking at it, and in my personal opinion, you know, just based on the kind of plus 30 fighting spirits that we do have, I wouldn't necessarily say that this is a priority. It might be a case of getting into plus 20 and then seeing who you need for what, and basing it on there. But I definitely feel like overall his exclusive equipment is solid. Like I do definitely feel like it's a solid piece. It might not be the best that we have, but it's a far shout from the worst kind of fighting spirits that we do. Standard tank, interruption, support, DPS, and we're just going to see how he works really. We're going to try a bit of both using the S1 by itself and then the super with the S2, and we're just going to see how it ends up working. It does seem like he does a fair bit of damage, if we're being honest. And I should get another interrupt. Unfortunately, she did evade. Definitely gonna build up the third one before me. So then we'll go you, into you, into you. Right there. And then it's gonna do the same thing. We'll just do Kami into the shields, into the S2, into that, and that should be it. Yeah. So overall, I mean, I feel like it's good. Overall, I feel like he does do his job. Definitely, I will say that. Healing again is fairly lacking if we do a comparison. You know, didn't even heal as much as Honda, but again, I didn't really use his S1 all too many times. You know, it wasn't really used too many times. So definitely not as much healing, but again, he's got the shielding as well. So it's one of those ones. It's not quite dedicated healing, it's more utility, but overall I am really happy with him. I do feel like he's a solid unit. I definitely feel like he is somebody that we're going to have to watch out for, just in general, seeing how he goes, seeing how he progresses, and just how people are building him and what kind of teams they're going to use him in once we actually do have our own copies of him to build up. So I think that's about it really. Thank you for tuning into this video. The next video that I will be bringing out will be something on a little bit of a more light-hearted note, because in the Discord as well, sometimes on Reddit, have had people ask me, you know, oh, you know, how did you manage to get this far, or what kind of units do you use, what units do you recommend? So I'll just do a complete kind of start over really of a brand new account, you know, day one to whatever day we decide to get to, just how to start out an account. I'm definitely biased. I do love my wind units, so I will be focusing on those wind units, showing you now how to kind of get the best possible start with them, using people such as Gal, B Zangief, S Poison, Elena, Honda. You know, able to progress really far, not really having to worry about your main team too much, and it's just more so about managing your resources, having a priority list, and waiting, really being patient. But that's it. Until next time, peace.